Hello and welcome to this recap of episodes 1 and 2 of Cruel Summer. Finally, this show is back. I have been waiting for its return since the end of season 1. Anyway, onto the recap. So this show has 3 timelines again, and the events take place on or around July 16th, 1999, December 15th, 1999, and July 16th, 2000. It's the start of the summer of 1999, and in the town of Chatham we meet Megan, whose mother has decided that it would be good for her to really enjoy her senior year, broaden her horizons a little bit, but because they can't really afford to travel, Debbie, her mother, thought it would be nice to invite an exchange student, Isabella, to stay with them. Megan isn't very enthusiastic about it though. She has her friends and her own plans, and she doesn't want to babysit an exchange student. Her protests aren't extreme though. It's not like she's fighting with her mom over this. She even helps set up the trailer where Isabella is going to be staying. She's still not sold on the idea though. 5 months later, in December of 99, Megan and Isabella are really excited as Megan gets accepted into the University of Washington on an academic scholarship. It seems that the girls by this time have become friends. Megan tells Isabella that her coming to Chatham was the best thing that's happened to her, and they vow to have fun that winter break. In the summer of 2000, the third timeline, which I'm going to call the present day, exactly 1 year after Isabella's arrival, Megan is looking kind of grunge, she's listening to some heavy metal, and she's maybe doing some kind of coding on her computer. The police have just arrived at the house and she sees them from her bedroom window, which she then climbs out of, perhaps trying to avoid them. Later, she goes to a building in town and meets a guy there and demands to know who told. He swears he didn't tell anybody. We don't actually know what they were talking about here. Anyway, Megan tells the guy that someone must have talked because the sheriff has been asking questions. Now, she says, it's going to cost double. And she hands him some kind of tape or disc. In the first timeline, Megan and her best friend Luke go for a walk along the pier, and she's lightly complaining about Isabella's impending arrival. Her friends invite her to go sailing to the island, but Megan says no, she can't. She has to be home for Isabella's arrival. By that winter of 1999, she and Luke make out and celebrate her acceptance into the computer science program at the University of Washington. They're together now. Back to Isabella's arrival, she says that she was born in New York, but she left when she was 6 months old. She's lived in India, Malaysia, England, Argentina, Japan. Her parents are diplomats, so they traveled a lot. She gives the family gifts, a pendant for Megan's little sister, a vase for Debbie, and for Megan, a mystery hardcover. Megan later goes snooping in Isabella's trailer and looks through her things, pages through her passport. Isabella walks in on her and is understandably quite upset by the intrusion. By December, the winter of that year, as we know, Megan and Isabella are best friends at this point. Megan is even borrowing clothes from Isabella. She tells Isabella that there's something that she's always wanted to do, but she's been afraid. But she thinks that she's ready for it now, and she wants to do it with Isabella. They go up onto the cliffs and jump together into the lake. That was the thing. Debbie tells Megan that she's really proud of her. She'll be the first graduate in the family. Megan assures her mom that she'll still have a job, but her mom encourages her to take her foot off the gas for a bit and enjoy college. Let Debbie be the mom. They have a sweet enough relationship. They seem to look after one another. In the present day, grunge Megan is looking at a torn missing persons poster. Another girl says that none of this would have happened if she never came into town. Megan says that she thinks about that all the time. I should mention that in this timeline, somebody in the household is on a lot of medications. We see Megan refilling the dispenser thing, but we don't really know whose meds they are. In the first timeline, Luke and Isabella meet. She has general easy chemistry with everybody, and Luke seems a little taken by her, but not too much. She's very pretty and bubbly, and yeah, the look on Megan's face, she notices that Luke is a little taken as well. She looks a bit nervous, but since she and Luke end up dating 5 months later, maybe it's no big deal. Turns out that the medication is for Debbie. Megan is at the pharmacy picking up more meds for her mom, and while she's there, she overhears some people in the queue talk about a body that was found in the lake. Megan rushes to some cabin and she starts furiously scrubbing at what looks like blood from the floor. She also has Isabella's ID. Luke's father owns a lot around town. He's some kind of developer. By the winter of that year, he's having some investment issue. They're also together, Debbie and Luke's father. We'll see them later at a party together, so their relationship is public. One evening in December, in the second timeline, as Luke and Megan are hooking up in the cabin, they hear what sounds like gunshots. They run outside and it's some guy who's just shooting his rifle at the birds or something. Apparently, according to Megan, he's some kind of computer genius. According to Luke, he's also a bit of a weirdo who goes on about Y2K stuff. Back to arrival day, Isabella comments that Luke is cute and she asks how long he and Megan have had a thing. Megan says that it's not like that. They've been friends forever and he's almost like a brother to her. At their party later that night, the group starts drinking and Isabella offers Megan some, but Megan does not drink at all. Later, the girls are sitting together and Isabella asks Megan again to be sure that she and Luke aren't a thing. She asks Megan if it would be okay then if she made a move on Luke, and Megan tells her to go ahead. Megan looks on sadly as Isabella and Luke are getting more friendly and flirty, and later that evening, Megan apologizes for snooping through Isabella's things. At a party in December when Luke and Megan are together, and they've even said I love you to each other, she sees Luke and Isabella share a laugh and it looks completely innocent, but there might still be some jealousy there on Megan's part. In the present day timeline, grunge Megan rushes to the lake to find the sheriff's department transporting the body that they'd found there. She's hyperventilating a bit. At the party in December of 99, hosted by Luke's father, a sex tape of Luke and Isabella is played on the big screen, to the shock of everyone, because practically everyone in the town is at this party. Luke's father obviously demands that it be taken down, and Isabella tries to stop Megan, but Megan runs off. She's devastated. In the present day, Luke's father comes down to see the body retrieved from the water, and he makes a positive ID. It's Luke. Megan turns to the girl next to her who tells her that they need to get their story straight. I thought I was having the confusing teenage girl face blindness again, because this girl looks exactly like Isabella to me, but I couldn't figure out if it was her. Spoiler alert, yes, this is Isabella. She's still in Chatham a year later. In episode 2, the events of this episode take place on the 18th of July, December, and July of 99 and 2000, so roughly 2 days later in each timeline. In December, we see that the yard in front of Isabella's trailer has been trashed by people slut-shaming her for sleeping with Luke. Also in the aftermath of the sex tape scandal, Megan is watching the tape and it turns out that it's Megan on the tape and not Isabella. The tape was stopped before Megan's identity was revealed at the party. Not sure why everybody assumed that this was Isabella though. Anyway, Megan is stressed that her principal's going to find out that it was her, call the university, and her scholarship will be revoked. Isabella says that since everyone thinks that it's her on the tape, they should just let them think that. She's leaving in a few months anyway and she can take the slut-shaming. Megan says that she shouldn't have to, but Isabella insists that they not let this ruin Megan's future. In the present day, Isabella tells Megan that now that Luke's body has been found, people are going to start asking questions, so Megan can't shut her out anymore. The coroner's report is in and Luke's cause of death was drowning. There are a few other details, like the fact that there was an abrasion on his ear above the gunshot wound, and he had a lot of benzos in his system, so somebody was really trying to make sure that Luke was dead. In the first summer timeline, Luke and Isabella hang out while Megan is at work and they end up having a pool party at Luke's house. Isabella accidentally finds a bag of pills in Megan's bag, and Megan's straight edge, so she asks Megan about it, and Megan says that they're for school to help stay up late or focus and study. In the December sex tape aftermath, the girls burn the tape and vow to find out who's responsible for it. Jeff and Brent seem to be the main persons of interest now. Brent is Luke's brother, by the way. So the investigation into Luke's death is being reopened because this has potentially turned into a murder investigation. Isabella tells Megan that she's leaving on Tuesday, but Megan's like, no, you can't leave now and leave me to take the blame for all of this. Isabella is at Luke's house and she bumps into Brent's ex at the house. They break into the house and destroy a lot of his tapes. You see, Brent's ex told Isabella that he once wanted to record her, but she didn't feel comfortable, but she thinks that he might have recorded her anyway. Anyway, the sheriff starts questioning the townspeople again after the discovery of Luke's body. Isabella is also questioned and she explains that she decided to stick around and help out because Debbie, Megan's mom, got sick. The sheriff points out that Isabella has a bit of a troubled background. She's been to 3 schools in 3 years, and there seems to be a bit of a pattern. That's when Isabella, who up until this point has been really confident and a little bit combative, but not necessarily in a bad way. Well, anyway, she shuts down and then she says she's not going to say more without a lawyer. Luke's brother says that he was not responsible for the tape. He doesn't have a death wish because the father is pretty strict about their family optics. He is a jerk though, because he says that small town girls love this kind of attention and they'll look back on this and think of it as their fun years. Back in the first summer of Isabella's arrival, they're at the pool party still and Luke and Isabella kiss in the pool. Megan looks on pretty sad. In the winter sex tape aftermath, Isabella overhears Luke and Megan talk, and Megan tells Luke that he's the most important person to her. He's her ride or die. This very specific thing is something that the girls always said to one another, so it's quite upsetting to Isabella. She goes to Debbie then and says there's something that Debbie should know. By the way, at this point, the only people who know that it was actually Megan on the tape and not Isabella are Megan, Isabella, and Luke. So yeah, things are a little bit frosty between Debbie and Isabella because Debbie's under the impression that Isabella slept with her daughter's boyfriend. Although she is the adult, so it's more like she's disappointed in Isabella. She hasn't completely shut her out, and she mentioned wanting Isabella to apologize to Megan. At the end of the episode, in the present day, Isabella phones her mother and asks her for help and says that she's in trouble. She also flushes some pills down the toilet. And that's the end of episodes 1 and 2 of Cruel Summer. Of course, I'm going to be doing weekly video recaps, and yeah, thank you for watching.